Imposter syndrome is one of those invisible, hard to grasp enemies that can get in your way faster than any other internal device. And I'm here to show you exactly how you can overcome imposter syndrome, live the life that you want, and finally be rid of this foe for the rest of your life. Come on back. How's it going, Nez Nation? It's so awesome to see you guys. I hope you're doing really, really well. I'm really excited to get into this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, I am Professor Nez, personal branding coach, executive career coach, and online business strategist, helping individuals and businesses just like you get yourself out of your way, craft a brand message so that you can earn more, grow smarter, and stress a lot less. We talk about everything from LinkedIn branding, building your online presence, starting, growing, scaling an online business, everything related to making you thrive in your personal and professional lives. So you may want to consider subscribing, and if it would mean the world to me if you could smash that big giant thumb down there, because when you do, it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. We want to try to impact as many people as we can. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, without further ado, let's talk about imposter syndrome. One thing I want to say before we get cooking here is that imposter syndrome is, if you're curious at all and wondering, do I really even have this? What does this mean? Imposter syndrome is when you feel you get these very almost visceral, self-doubting, self-defeating thoughts that can just come sometimes out of nowhere. You may have all the credentials in the world. You may have all the accolades in the world. You know deep in your heart that you're awesome at what you do. You've got all these great reviews. Maybe you're a coach, a consultant, or a VP of marketing, or some kind of business executive, professional, what have you, podcaster, live streamer. And you've got all these great comments, all these great reviews. You've done the work. You've put in the time. But why do these thoughts come? What are these thoughts? Who am I? They come out of nowhere. Who do you think you are? Do you really think you should be doing this? Sometimes even before you even put yourself out there, or sometimes even before you think about building anything or starting or endeavoring upon any project, I call him the eternal doubter. It's that dude that lives inside every single human being's mind. Every one of us have this, even yours truly. I'm going to talk about that in a second. All of us have this. It's that little dude that lives inside every human being's mind. And his only job is to doubt you eternally. I've got an entire playlist. I'll leave some links in the description down below, Nez Nation. I know some of you guys have watched a lot of these videos, but I'm going to leave an entire playlist called Mindset Mastery. We talk about this all the time on this channel, that it starts with your internal validation. It starts with your mindset. Then you need to craft a message so you can share that to the world. And the imposter syndrome, this avalanche of doubt that comes out of nowhere, can seem so real, and it can really affect you in a major way. There is not one successful person that I know that has not experienced this. And so I'm going to teach you two major, simple, applicable, pragmatic, easy ways so you can get rid of imposter syndrome for the rest of your life and live the life that you know you should be living. And so the first thing that I want to say is that it's very common. It's very, very common for people to have this. This is not something new. This is not something unique to you. It doesn't mean that you're something that you're somebody special, and this is something that only you're going through. So this must mean something very heavy and very, catastrophic for you. Couldn't be further from the truth. Everybody has this, including yours truly. You ever hear the phrase, ignorance is bliss? I'm not one of these guys who subscribes, or I usually hate all these kind of platitudinous bumper sticker phrases and slogans. Most of them just make me sick to my stomach. Leave a comments down below. How do you feel about these phrases and slogans, like just these quotes and things? Sometimes it can drive a man crazy. But actually, ignorance is bliss. There's a lot of truth to that. Einstein once said that only in the mind of a highly intelligent person can the possibility of failure and the possibility of disaster strike harder than the possibility of success. The reason is the more intelligent you are, you think more. You have an active imagination. Your imagination is much more powerful, and that imagination can have a dark side too. And so if you're going through imposter syndrome, hey, guess what? This is a sign that you're intelligent. This is a sign that you're a real human being. So fear not. So don't worry. This is a good thing, actually. I would even advocate. So you're highly intelligent beings will have this. Highly intelligent individuals, which I know you are, will have this. So that's the first thing that I want to say, is just recognizing that this is something very common. This is something that afflicts 99.99% of creators. And when I say creators, I don't just mean content creators. I don't just mean artists or writers or musicians or video creators. I mean creators, anybody who's innovating, anybody who's trailblazing and creating new paths, business owners, project managers, marketers, sales, scientists, biology. Creativity, I put creativity on this huge canopy. I don't put it on just the artistic level or the supposed, musicians, painters, and what have you. Creativity is within all of us. It's just to what degree. That's the only differentiation. So this afflicts all creators. That's something that I want to say, okay? So recognizing that, understanding that, let's move into the two major steps, very simple, again, practical, that you can get into to overcome imposter syndrome. Number one is about recognizing this illusionist, this trickster, this prankster for who he is and what he's all about. That's number one. Number one is recognition. And this is what I mean by this. You have to understand that the mind, especially, and I'm not talking about your natural mind, for, learning new things, your intelligence and, remembering how to drive a car. I'm not talking about your natural intelligence. I'm talking about your psychological mind, not your natural mind. You have to understand that the psychological mind, who I call the eternal doubter, that little dude that lives inside every single human being, his whole goal in life is to get in your way. His whole ambition is to get in your way. And so when you recognize that this is his game, when you understand and you catch the illusionist red-handed, the illusion no longer has any power. This is called awareness. This is so heavy and so perfect, Nez Nation. Again, I've got an entire playlist on Mindset Mastery. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description. You have to go check out some of these videos. They are monstrously on fire. I mean, so helpful. I can't tell you, probably the most messages, my branding videos and my how to make money videos and my communication videos and my messaging videos do fantastic as well. But I think I get the most comments. I get the most, heartfelt, Nez, you changed my life. Nez, this helped me so much. I'm free. I'm happy again. I'm free of this crazy monkey mind. I'm free of this eternal doubter. I think I get the most comments and the most messages from my mental and mindset kind of videos. So you got to go check those out in the description down below. But recognizing that the prankster, that the trickster, this is his game, is to get in your own way, is the first beautiful step. That recognition, that awareness is the first beautiful step to clip his power source. Whatever you give attention to, you give power to. And so one of the things that happens with imposter syndrome is they just come like a barrage of self-doubt, like a barrage of, who do you think you are? What in the world is your problem? You can't do this. Are you out of your mind? You're not as good as this person. Then the comparison. So it's just a cyclone. I call it a cyclone of self-defeating thoughts. Once you recognize that and you don't give them any attention, and you practice this, try this really hard. You don't have to take this guy seriously. Every time those thoughts come, you just say, okay, no problem. You can have your fun, but guess what? I'm not going to be a party to this. I'm not going to allow you to get in my way. You have to say this. This is your internal power. You have this power. Once you do that, that is the first step to diminishing his power over you. And imposter syndrome will not have a strong impact the next time he comes, because he will come. He will come all the time, but you are greater than these thoughts. Everything comes and goes. This is all ephemeral. Imposter syndrome, doubt, anxiety, sensations, feelings, memories, thoughts, everything comes and goes. You are beyond all of that. You are not this thought. You are not this random self-defeating, self-doubting thought that just comes out of the blue. You're bigger than that. And once you recognize the game, that's the first step. So recognition. The second thing, and this is the crux of everything. The second thing, once you recognize this imposter syndrome's trickery, the second thing is to relinquish your attention and avoid interpretation. What do I mean by this? So all these thoughts come, right? Think of them as just little like racing. It's like you've got this traffic, you've got this highway in your brain, and on this highway are all these thoughts that just keep coming, right? And instead of trying to police these thoughts and be like, well, wait a minute, why did I have that thought? Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they're right. Maybe, oh my God, this is starting to make me feel anxiety. It's starting to make me feel constriction in my chest. I can't breathe. Avoid the interpretation. If you can try to look at those thoughts objectively for what they are and not interpret them as meaning anything significant about who you are, what you can do, and how you should live your life, you, I promise you, Nez Nation, will be free for the rest of your life. And this will bleed into so many other mental blocks that we all have. If you have panic attacks, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you have, thoughts of gloom and doom, or tend to have a bad temper or get upset very easily, this will help with all of that, I promise you. And again, I've got this awesome playlist I'll leave in the description down below. Avoid the subjectivity, avoid the interpretation, avoid taking it so seriously, avoid getting trapped in that rabbit hole of, well, maybe I do. What? Why is this thought coming? The only reason it's coming is because maybe it's true. And if it is true, then what am I? It will absolutely destroy you. It's not true. First of all, let me save you the suspense. It's not true. It don't mean a thing. Trust me when I say this. I've gone through debilitating anxiety and depression from a young man. Even to today, even though it's not as debilitating as it used to be, I still get anxiety. I did a video very recently on my channel. I'll leave that in the link down below, how to stop recurring anxiety and overthinking. Because of what's been happening with this pandemic, as of this recording, a lot of old kind of anxiety and old rusty negative thinking started to bubble up. This is natural. It's okay. We're human beings. It's going to happen. It's going to happen time and time again. But if you really practice this, if you're very vigilant and you don't allow this stuff to stick, it can only stick. You can have any thought in the world. Dark thoughts come out of the blue. Negative thoughts come out of the blue. Depressive, anxietal thoughts, they will come and come and come. You can't stop them. You don't want to be the policeman of your mind. You just want to watch and let it go. Watch and let it go. Just look at it for what it is and be like, that's nice. No big deal. Okay, fine. But don't get into that. What he wants to do, the mind, he wants to trap you into the debate. He's trying to egg you on. He's trying to needle you to get into that debate. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Who the hell do I think I am? Maybe I should, that whole cyclone that I told you about. Don't be a policeman of these thoughts and try to stop them and try to avoid them. And I see all these kind of videos and I see all these. Believe me, I've been there. I've done that. I've tried everything on the planet when it comes to this dude right here. I've studied the mind for over 29 years. And so I know all the tricks. And yet I still have, from time to time, I have my bad days. I have my weak days. And so will you. The point is, when you recognize and you avoid the interpretation, you avoid taking it personal, it will come and go a lot faster. It won't stick. The stickiness is what gets us all. The stickiness can only occur if you give it too much attention, if you give it too much significance. That's it. That's literally it. If you practice that over and over again, you'll get better and better. And some of you might, even if you start practicing right now, you're going to start feeling immediate relief. But I don't want you to also get trapped in that as well, because the mind is the sneakiest. The mind is the greatest salesman of all time. He's the greatest politician of all time. He's the greatest persuader of all time. And he has every single trick up his sleeve. Again, I'm talking about the psychological mind, not your natural intelligent mind, okay? The psychological mind is separate. The psychological mind is an impediment. It's a barrier. It's meant to get in your way and stop you from being the real you. And so you can even get trapped in that, like, oh, I'm feeling great. I know exactly what to happen. And then all of a sudden he comes back with something else. And then you go, well, maybe Nez was an idiot. Maybe that didn't work. Or maybe, yeah, maybe no, that's just a bunch of BS. Like your internal doubter might be even doing that right now. This guy's full of crap. This guy's full of BS. Practice this. Recognize that whatever thought comes is not greater than you. Recognize that you are greater than a thought. Think about this. A thought cannot live without you, but you can live without a thought. So which is the greater? You need to decide this. Don't let it get too sticky. Don't energize these thoughts with your attention. What you give attention to, you give power to. If you practice this, Nez Nation, you will be free of imposter syndrome forever. I promise you. Just keep practicing this. Awareness, pay attention. Okay, I see what you're doing, but I'm not going to get entangled in that argument. I'm not going to let you draw me in on this argument. You have the power to do this. And so I hope you got a ton of value out of this video. Again, it would mean the world to me if you can give us a smash. Hit that like button because it helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. And go check out all of those links and all those videos that even go deeper into what I'm talking about with awareness, with ephemerality of the mind, how to circumvent anxiety, panic attacks, overthinking. Go check out those links in the description. And please, I would love to hear from you too. Leave me a comment down below. I don't know if you know this, but I respond to all the comments. So if you have any questions, if you have like any tips, or what are your best ways to overcome imposter syndrome and anxiety, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the chat down below because I respond to all the comments and I really, really do love hearing from you. Consider subscribing because I'm bringing you bone marrow content every single week. And by the way, really quickly, if you're interested in going even further, maybe you're interested in hiring me as a consultant or a coach, speaker, what have you, I'll leave links in the description down below. I also have some amazing 5-star review digital courses to help you with mindset, building your own personal brand, making money with your expertise, communication, everything. I'll leave that in the description down below. I love you guys. Practice this. You're bigger than all of these anxietal impediments and barriers and blockades. You're bigger than all of that stuff. It doesn't mean anything unless you let it. Nothing can bother you unless you give it consent. Don't ever forget this. Nothing, I mean nothing, on planet Earth, in the universe, in the galaxy, since the dawn of creation, nothing can bother you unless you first give it consent. Think about that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.